lemon and ginger, actually.
Ooh.
Well, hello there, movie fans.
Hello.
How's it going?
Hello. We are
Cinema Girl.
Cinema Squirrel.
And I'm already sensing that maybe we had a different opinion on this movie.
Maybe.
Maybe that'll be a first for us, I think, which is kind of wild. Big moment here on Cinema Girl, Cinema Squirrel. Okay, so yesterday we went to see a matinee of the new film J. Kelly, which is in theaters right now, but will be coming to Netflix on December 5th. And it is written by Noah Bambauch and Emily Mortimer, directed by Noah Bambauch. And can I just do a little summary? Yeah. So my thought was that maybe it could be described as being about the doubt of a successful actor who is suddenly reevaluating the choices he's made in his life as he leads his entourage on a wild goose chase to catch up to his daughter, his youngest daughter, who has opted to spend her final summer without him.
And a definite feeling of we're all getting older. Mm-hmm. Because don't they mention his age? Oh, is that hot?
It is.
Don't they mention people say oh, what are you, 60 now? To him a couple of points. Anyway.
There is a point where he's like, yeah, and I remember 50, whatever, and so there is. So why?
But
what do you get at, Squirrel?
George Clooney, Silver Fox. Adam Sandler, not quite uncut gems serious, but at only one point did his angry comedic voice get raised. I caught that, so I liked his performance. So I think you may have loved it. I may have only liked it.
Okay.
Let's get into it.
What? So let me ask you this. What do you have to feel in the theater to say this was a great experience for me as opposed to this was a passable experience?
I think when you are rooting for characters, I think when you are halfway through a film and you're like, who am I really rooting for here? Everybody kind of has realistic problems. We've all been there. Not enough time in the day for your friends or your family. Get that. But part of me is this is a movie. So if there is no sort of emotional payoff, and that's what I felt about Clooney at the end, that it was a definite well, has he learned anything? Because he comes across as bit of a bad dad. He was very busy.
Yeah.
Then they mention it the J. Kelly show, and his daughters are it's Kelly and Kelly.
Yeah.
They mention that. Then they actually show the flashback of he's a younger man. He's about to go on location or off to a movie set or something, and he stops because they keep saying we're not done, we're not finished.
Right.
And he does stop and he does watch them, and it's are you supposed to think oh, he is a good dad after all? Because he was pretty kind of up his own butt for the most of the movie, is what I got from him. And I know he sort of comes to terms with that, kind of. I just thought when we were getting near the end and he was very mean to Adam Sandler's character of friends don't charge 15%, and goes back to dancing in a scene, and I was like, ouch. Is Adam Sandler ever gonna be that's it?
Sorry, I feel this discussion, you've gone straight to the last few minutes of the movie.
Right to the end.
For me, in terms of the psychological essay that I try to form when we're doing this, you just went to the last
I went 0 to 60. Sorry. Okay, let's start at the start. There's some great character actors. I was not expecting so many names. Laura Dern was fantastic.
Yeah.
All of his entourage was great.
Okay, so let's go into some of the things you mentioned. So, okay, and one of the things that J. Kelly, who is an actor, who's clearly had a big career that maybe is supposed to mimic the career of even George Clooney.
Right.
So there's a little bit of a meta quality to this, but he does have this tendency to say can I give it another? Can I have one more go?
Right.
Or whatever. And so that sort of happens throughout the movie. And since you just brought up the ending, and again, these These are discussions. We encourage everyone to go see movies and then talk to their friends. So this is in no way telling you whether or not you should see the movie or not. We assume you've seen it and are in on this discussion. So we'll say, it ends though, like that's the last line. So he's watching his daughters doing the show. I kind of felt like that retrospective was that, I couldn't quite figure out how much of that was a fantasy and what was actually happening, because he was imagining different people in his life next to him in the audience, and then he's watching what would have been home footage that who would have even been filming it.
I think that was his memory.
His memory.
I think they did a great thing where he walks through one scene, like he's on a train, he opens the door, and you think, well, that's another carriage, and then he's into a room with people, and I really appreciated that. I really thought that was cool. Like when he starts reminiscing, like he's hugging Adam Sandler's character Ron at one point because they said, oh, another character has died.
Yeah.
Gives him a hug and looks through his own kitchen window. It's not outside. It's into a room from the past with that character. So I loved those transitions of, oh, he's just thinking back.
Yeah.
Sometimes it got a bit muddy of like, are we still in the flashback memory or are we now back into the present? But I thought that was great.
And interestingly, it was. I sometimes, I feel like this year I've seen more movies than I typically do in a year.
Me too.
Which has been cool. And I'm sitting here going like, okay, we have a life flashback style that we've also seen in Eternity and Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey. This sort of like, I'm watching a moment of my life. I'm in the room sort of watching it. So I was like, oh, here's another film kind of playing with that thing. Also, parental crisis we've recently seen in the documentary Nothing Is Lost about the Ben Stiller's family. Wait, so you were saying he's looking, so you think that's his memory at the end, and I agree. He's watching like a retrospective of his work and his life. He's watching a retrospective in the end of what looks like a home movie, but is, I agree, like probably his memory. And he's noticed they have to keep asking him to come back. They have to keep goading him to come back because he keeps trying to walk away.
Right.
And they're like, we're not done. We're doing the show for you. And I mean, it's not even just a show. It's like your childhood is the show. Like we're trying to like be your kids right now. And that clip finishes and he says, with a little bit of tears in his eyes, can I have another go? So I think he is learning. I think he's learning throughout. I think the movie is us watching him get his... Is that a sassy head bob?
So I'm kind of like, I understand that. I get that he's like tearing up, and it is a very emotional scene. Again, I'm not knocking this film. When it comes to Netflix, check it out. It is some impeccable acting. Clooney, and I'll get back to my point, but Clooney like has always to me been great. He's been funny, and he's always been a bit like wink to the audience, like, I know this is ridiculous. Mm-hmm. I think he was fearless showing like his entourage sharpieing his eyebrows to get the gray out, and of course Sharpie isn't going to run if you get a bit sweaty, so I bet they do that in real life.
Sure. So
that was great. But
they also start off talking about like maybe that he's wearing a wig, like at least in his daughter is talking to him.
Oh
yeah, but go ahead.
He's kind of fearless, and I love him for that. But the character of Jay Kelly is like tearing up, remembering his daughter's thing, and he and it sort of shows, like I said, he didn't walk away. He actually spent some time with them, but then he still, is gonna go because a lot of the film, the daughters resent him, saying you weren't ever there. Mm-hmm. So when he turns to camera, and I get it, it's like, oh, can I just do one more? I was not endeared to him. I'm like, no, you've had a life and you kind of pissed it away on stuff that you're like now regretting. You don't get another life. Well, it's just this one.
And it doesn't mean that he did it poorly either, because he was doing good takes and wanting to do more. So I think he's looking back and he's like, I've loved that I got to do all of this. And he's looking around at the people next to him and saying like, oh, look how these stories have affected their lives. And I was a part of that. So I think,
And of course,
it's open to interpretation.
oh, sure. And of course, he is a super famous actor in real life and in this film. And so, yeah, I'm pretty sure his family has wanted for nothing. They have the big house. I know at one point Laura Dern says, like, if he doesn't do this next film, he is financially ruined. And I never felt that. It's like, well, I don't know. He seems like he has an entourage, a fleet of cars. He flies a private jet. It's like, yeah, I don't think not doing this film would ruin him.
But if that's the cost, if that's your imagine the operating costs of all of that. So maybe he makes kind of just enough to keep all that going,
I can see that.
Maybe financially ruined is more like, for example, well, we don't need to get into another disgraced actor in a recent headline about them. We'll just say that, sometimes it happens that, the opportunities don't keep coming and people have to pivot. Okay, I want to talk about some different things.
Sure.
Because, so I do think, I like to talk about the significance of the title. The title is J. Kelly, and that is the actor's name. So I feel like that's, if anything, that's saying like he's the center of the story. It's all about J. Kelly. It's always been about J. Kelly, what J. Kelly wants, the opportunity J. Kelly will take. He's like main character energy as an actor going through his own life.
And I wonder if that's why there is a scene where he's looking at himself in a mirror, saying his name over and over, which again, I'm like, J. Kelly, George Clooney. J. Kelly, George Clooney. That's what was going through my head as he mentioned other actors. He's like, J. Kelly, Cary Grant, J. Kelly.
Right.
And I was like, wait, are we subliminally supposed to think George Clooney in that list?
For me, it was like, I need to hear my name listed in a list of greats. I'm going to say it to myself. Just like I loved that bit where they're going into the audition as a much younger actors, and he rips out that picture of who's the actor, the young actor, Rebel Without a Cause.
James Dean.
James Dean. He rips a picture. That was who it was, right?
It might have been Marlon Brando. Marlon Brando in...
My apologies.
Oh, goodness, what was that film? Yeah, see, really famous film Marlon Brando was in. You all know it. You're all screaming at the screen.
All 44 of you eventually.
All 44 know the Marlon Brando with the cap and on the leather jacket on the bike. Oh, my goodness.
It's not Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, is it?
No, that's Richard Burton.
Is there like... On
the waterfront. That's it. Did
I start to say that?
You did.
Okay, cool. Well, anyway, okay, so
goodness.
But basically, he ripped a photo and he's like, "Why don't you eat this just to like take its essence?"
Yes.
So that was hilarious. A hilarious bit of like superstition and sort of like actuated magic there, and the guy's like, what? And then so he does it, and lo and behold, he gets the role. I kind of feel like George Clooney's been like casting or J. Kelly's been casting little spells as he goes. But
and also like those, and again, don't get me wrong, I'm not bashing the movie. It's just that end for me was like, what? But throughout the film, there are some great running jokes where people are like, "You're always alone, Dad," and then his assistant hands him a drink, and he's like, "Thanks." And also on his rider, cheesecake keeps showing up.
Just
that was great.
Cheesecake, and like to me, okay. See, the movie touched me more than it touched you, obviously. And when he eats the cheesecake, because he's like, "Oh, why do I always have cheesecake?" And he's like, "Because it's on your rider." It's like Adam Sandler's character Ron has been like keeping him organized this whole time, knows all the ins and outs, and really is his best friend in the world, even though that gets debated at one point about like the nature of a manager or whatever, and a friend, like a manager and an actor, could we call them friends? And I think they are friends. They are like brothers,
And sorry to interrupt, but definitely Kelly's character mentions he's been doing it for 35 years. He kind of says that with the weight of like, I've been doing this 35 years. Do they ever establish how long Ron has been his manager?
I feel like It's been a lot of
A
that.
long
Because
time.
I think there is a point where Ron says how long, but I can't remember. It was
Yeah,
at
yeah.
least in the 20s.
And you
though.
can, I mean, to his credit, Adam Sandler comes across like, we're family. I've
Yeah.
been looking after you for so long.
Right.
We're essentially brothers.
And you see how, like, George Clooney's daughter knows.
Right.
Daisy knows more about what's going on with Ron and the tennis tournament than George Clooney seems to know. Because, George Clooney he's a disappointing dad, he's a disappointing friend, but he is not a disappointing movie star.
Right.
And so, there were several points in this movie that I got emotional. And I don't want to get emotional right now, but like, okay, let's see. I always feel like, so Noah Baumbach movies, for me, like I have some that I've like really liked and some where I haven't really felt for the character. I kind of feel like the introduction of Emily Mortimer as a writer on this probably brought something special to this, but I've always liked his style too. I feel like there's a kind of a classic style to it, and this movie, like at one point I was thinking, it always is like, and not to be like Woody Allen, but like, it's a bit Woody Allen vibe and Wes Anderson vibe, and I know they work together a lot, those two. I've sensed that from Squid and the Whale. I was like, why does this feel kind of like a Wes Anderson film, but like more realistic, more like tied to like true reality, but has a certain amount of stylized, like intellectual, retro, and just as Woody Allen movies always had, they're always talking about, my analyst says this, there's always like big conversations, and anyway.
And Woody Allen cast would be big names and famous faces like this one.
Right, and sort of like a very, almost like ordinary world of like maybe a more unusual person. But let's get into Justice For. You were like, I wonder who your Justice For is going to be. I'm going to have to give it to Tim. I guess his name was Tim. Although there's some really good candidates for this. You could also say Peter Schneider, who gave him the opportunity for Cranberry Street, his first big break, and then later won't attach his name to a project a mere week or so before that director
Justice for most of his entourage
passes away. Yeah, justice for his kids, justice for his entourage, justice for his various failed relationships. But Billy, is it Crudup?
I think so.
Crudup? However you say it. We've been adoring this guy.
Get in touch with us, Billy. How do we say your last name?
I should have looked it up.
But another Billy Crudup juggernaut.
Crudup?
Crudup. Billy Crudup.
Man, like we recently became fans of The Morning Show, and that show is basically Billy C's like vehicle right here.
Right.
He is just a total scene stealer and has like an amazing shimmer to him, I think. And as soon as I saw him walk in this movie, I was like, heck yes, what are you gonna do for us, Billy Crudup? And he does not disappoint.
And his fantastic wig, maybe? Or his hair, but whatever they did, totally California. That's what I instantly got. Like the little wispy bits in front of his face that he would brush away. And I just got like, yeah, this guy has lived in California all his life. Wannabe actor. Got kind of, pushed aside by George Clooney, who he came up, like originally in that audition, he came up with a good line and then got scared going, I can't change their script. They're not looking for that.
Well, he choked. They said he was a bad auditioner anyway.
Yeah. So he got nervous, but also didn't use his clever line.
Right. And Jay Kelly takes the opportunity, asks for an audition even though he's not on the sheet. And they both go to this audition for this movie, I guess, called Cranberry Street. And yes. But so yeah, they start as two young like promising actors, and one takes off and one doesn't. And so I feel like, for one thing, this movie's trying to show that for every Jay Kelly, there are so many Tim, whatever his name was, who have to find something else, who become child psychologist is what he was, right? Or child therapist, something.
Right, because everyone, when they get into a fight, afterwards everyone's like, you punched a child therapist?
But in their little meetup together, before it turns tense, Tim is asked to read the menu like he used to always do. And that's what I mean, like, he did not disappoint. Right. He was supposed to read the menu once blandly and then once with a character choice. And he is just like amazing at like just bringing on tears and pain and everything as he's reading over this menu. And
kind of suggested like he could do method acting, because I get the feeling Jay Kelly could not. And it was like, it's your party piece, do method acting. And yeah, to see Crudup go, okay, I'm thinking about something, this is making me upset, I'm making an emotional choice now, and reads the menu again, upset. Also, there's a glint in his eye, like he is having so much fun with this, yes. To then switch it off in a blink of an eye going, and that's method acting. It's like you were just in tears over the menu.
Yes, and also, I hate you.
Yeah, also, yeah, let's get into a fight because you stole my life.
But, you know, and even when he's like saying like, oh, but I did get to see my kids every day, you know, kind of like jab, 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 because I know you must have some feelings about that. And I think, so I guess for me, this movie gets into, what does it mean to be an actor? What does it mean to be out there as a storyteller to this level, to tell stories? Is it the most selfish thing or the most selfless thing? You know, at one point he says, all of my memories are movies. And when he looks around in that audience at the very end and sees people watching the movies, it's like, sees everyone being transported by the illusion that he helped create, you know, that they're like reliving their lives. When he's on the train, that man says, I look at you and I see my life. And he's like, and kind of like, don't get old, because that means I'm getting old. And I was like, holy crap, I just said that about Blue Moon. When I'm like, you know, Ethan Hawke and I are about the same age. And when I saw Blue Moon, and I was like, wait, you know, do I have like a comb over now? Like, you know, a la Lauren's Heart. You know, so there's like, he is, in a way, he's like, all my memories are movies. In a way, yes, he's had this opulent life, you know, and he's loved when he goes places. He's loved, but also when he goes places, like when he's on that train suddenly, and he's looking around, and this is another moment where I actually teared up when the camera pans around to like the things, to the things that like ordinary people are doing.
Oh yeah. The lady just unwrapping her sandwiches.
Right, and everybody's just like, you know, people are just leading their examined, you know, like unfilmed.
They're just living their life until they notice him. And then it all changes, and it's like, yeah, to me, that's a very good way of showing you don't have this life.
Yes.
You don't have the privacy, you don't have the anonymity.
Right.
Everybody knows you. And of course, he sort of, you know, is happy about that because he jumps on it and starts talking to everybody on the train going, they're such nice people. However, the word people, he's saying, they're such nice people. I love how the entourage is like, you're getting on a train with real people? But there's real people on there.
But also, like, yeah. So, like, he gets approval from the people on the train who are essentially his audience.
Right.
You know, they don't really know him. The people who are really in his life are either having to, like, grit their teeth and not criticize him because they're on the payroll.
Right.
Or they're able to be like, psh, you know, like his kids can kind of tell it to him straight. And sometimes, you know, his close entourage can. But I think, like, his own father, I think it becomes heartbreaking when he as an excuse, as like an explanation for why he's basically stalking his daughter across Europe. He says he's going to accept an award that he already refused. Like, he's like, everyone's like, yeah, this doesn't sound like you to be doing like a retrospective or whatever. But then he decides, I think as part of the ruse, or to just try to have some family moment, that he realizes like his family moment opportunities are few and far between now.
Yeah.
He tries to invite everybody to this thing, and the only person who shows up is his father, and his father, played by Stacy Keach,
Right.
is kind of awful and kind of like leaves before he even gets the award. And you realize like there also is something else to this. Like, there's some hole in him that's also, I think, being filled by the love of strangers.
Right.
Which again brings us back to eternity and the person working there who doesn't go to eternity. She just helps strangers all day, to have this, I don't know, relationship. So I feel like there's something there where he does admit that he chose acting over parenting. And that's a big admission that he makes. And I do think though, and sometimes when I'm watching one of these movies, I'm like, okay though, he actually did go to therapy with her. Even if he had to bolt from it, he sat down with that goofball
Oh, right.
therapist who's like, we've been doing a lot of work, and now I'm gonna read you the letter because she might cry if she reads it. And then he proceeds to cry while he reads it to Jake Kelly.
Great. Yeah.
That's why I noticed IMDb calls it a buddy comedy. I don't know what I would call this movie, but it definitely does have some laughs. But they're painful laughs. They're like the laughs that you laugh when you're like, please don't make me laugh because it hurts when I laugh. Because something's jabbing me. I got things out of whack inside or whatever.
Oh, sure. And the letter is heartbreaking. Mm-hmm. And it is goofy to see the therapist is as emotional as the daughter would be. And
right.
Yeah, it's dark humor.
Right.
Also, I think it explains, Clooney's character bolts from the room. He also interrupts, as soon as the therapist starts reading the letter, he's like, oh, that's your mother talking. It's like he won't hear the letter. He's not hearing it to me.
At that moment, no.
Yeah, and then when you meet Stacy Keach as the father, who's like, I worked for John Deere Tractor for 50 years, it's like, well, that explains a lot. He does not understand George Clooney, his son's life at all.
But I also think that he would have been willing to hear the letter read by her. It was just too much to have that other guy reading it. I think that's what, sometimes when movies are like this, I'm like, but he did go to therapy and he did actually want to hang out with you. And just like that girl goes, for the record, I'd love it if my dad stalked me across Europe. It's
yeah.
Yeah, the truth is, Daisy and Jessica Kelly, it can be worse than this. It can be worse than having your dad be this level. It can be worse, there's a lot of people out there who are like that side character going I wish he wanted to hang out with me that much. So I do think that they couldn't quite paint Clooney or Kelly in as he's not as bad a guy. Just everybody who was in his entourage was having to make the same choice.
Right.
Adam Sandler's character was missing stuff. Laura Dern's character was missing stuff. The truth is that if you pick a job that is really absorbing, you're going to semi-suck as a parent. It's just, there's no way around it. And it is something that more people should talk about because, I don't think people talk about it enough that like, yeah, kids really do all these, not to turn this less political, but like a big thing that we need to remember when we talk about like, oh, people should have children, is that children need this much. They need presence, and they need like regular attention. They need people like watching the Jay Kelly or the Kelly and Kelly show. They can't handle the walking away. There's so much that children need, and you have to like show up for them. And even in the case of, Nothing is Lost with, Ben Stiller talking about his choices versus his parents' choices. And he thought he was improving on the model. And it turns out he was not improving on the model because kids wanted him to. So it is difficult to do it all. You truly cannot have it all if one of the it's is this big. And so I think that, let's see. Oh, I wanted to say like it gets a little funny because there's the younger Clooney played. I forgot to write the actor's name, but like there is a younger Clooney and his face is used on things like in the retrospective, but then they start showing footage of a younger Clooney.
Yeah.
So it is a little funny that they, I was like, are we going to see bits of like Facts of Life or Roseanne in this retrospective? Was at some point we're going to get a lot closer in age to that
Return
actor.
of the Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. Oh yeah, Clooney, you were in that. You know it. And I noticed like his film stardom, a lot of people mentioned he was an action star, right? Did I mention that?
Oh,
they were like, we love your action films. And then when they do the retrospective, I don't think George Clooney has done a lot of action. So a lot of the clips were from Peacemaker, which I thought was good at the time. And that was like an old film from the 90s where he's like a Navy SEAL or something.
Okay.
So a lot of the clips were explosions and gunfire mixed in with his other serious work. And then sometimes he looked really young, like maybe it was a clip of ER or something.
Yeah.
But yeah. He was, when he's younger, he's almost the same age as the actor portraying him as young. Which, though, I think I appreciated more than them trying to digitally de-age him and Billy Crudup.
Yes, I agree.
I'm glad they didn't do that.
Yes, it allowed me to just relax and watch those scenes of them auditioning and being part of that, like, theater class.
So,
everything.
Hollywood, do you hear us?
Yeah.
You don't have to de-age people with the computers all the time. And 90 minutes is good.
Right.
I think this was
This was 2 hours and 12 minutes.
Oh, well, this is one of those films that didn't feel like it.
See? Because it was interesting.
Oh, yeah.
And I think, so back to the beginning, I was like, well, what for you makes a movie a good experience? And you're like, well, I have to be like rooting for the characters. I completely agree. I think that I could see when we reviewed Honey Don't, I was like, I really enjoyed the ride. I really enjoyed everything that happened along the way. And
sure.
I just expected it to like tie together better. I think this movie for me, it did tie together. It did tie together in that sort of 70s, 80s, chatty, Woody Allen, Wes Anderson, i.e. Noah Bambauch, kind of way. With this Emily Mortimer, what I have to feel is like the humor she injected and, maybe a little, I don't know, different perspective. I feel like this took me on a journey, and I was interested in it the whole time, and I did get moved. And when he eats the cheesecake, I got moved. When he's, they talk about him being what do they talk about him being in the desert? Like going out into the world on his own was like releasing I want to say it was some kind of like a dachshund or something.
Oh, right.
Into the desert or whatever. When he's in a white suit and he's lost in the forest.
Yep.
Like that whole sequence, I was like, yeah, his whole Hollywood kind of get up, but he's out here in the woods and he's kind of struggling. And I think like there was just a lot that I think it was really well done. I thought it was a really good movie. I could see myself watching it again. It had a lot of nuance. It had good characters. I was always rooting for Adam Sandler's character the whole time. Like,
Oh, yeah.
give me somebody I can root for. I liked Daisy, you know, and her. I think as a parent of young adults, you know.
And maybe that's what I mean. Like, I appreciated Laura Dern's character of like, I'm done. I am done with this.
Sure.
And you kind of wanted Adam Sandler to be done also. And he kind of is, but then isn't. It's like, once I get out, they drag me back in.
Right.
And yeah, there were some scenes that, yeah, were definitely heartbreaking again. Do I love this movie? I don't know. But what the kind of things that happen in it, like, got a little too real. Like, he's at his wit's end, Adam Sandler's Ron, and is calling home, and he's like, can you just say, like, be on my side to Lois, the put-upon
Yes.
wife? Can you just say you love me and it's all going to be great? And she never does, because she's like, did you just see this article popped up on the phone about Clooney's fight?
Right.
And it goes in a different direction, but it's
Right.
like, yeah, he never gets that kind of, well, what are you going home to? And obviously he was in the tennis tournament with his daughter who got angry at him that he has to go.
But he seemed to have a really strong family life, in my
did, yeah.
opinion. And them all laughing when he was on speakerphone.
Right.
And everybody's
And reading,
like giggling.
Right, reading to his son at night.
Yeah, right.
And Clooney sees
Yes.
that. And it's so, yeah, Adam Sandler is trying his hardest to balance the work life.
Yeah.
And work is, messing it up.
And he points out that the other actor, would go home on weekends and stuff.
Oh my goodness, Patrick Wilson as Ben Affleck. That's what I was telling you. The only thing we normally don't talk about the movie, the only thing I had to ask Cinema Girl about was like, okay, Jay Kelly sounds like a bit like George Clooney. Jay Kelly, George Clooney. Ben Alcock? I'm like, Ben Alcock? Is that supposed to be Ben Affleck? And then Patrick Wilson looks a bit like Ben Affleck. But yeah, showing up on his entourage were minibuses with his family in it. It's like, that was a really great, like, I am balancing my work life because I brought life with me.
Right.
And then I like the fact that Clooney just runs off into the forest at the end of that scene. Like, okay, I gotta go.
Yeah.
I don't know where I'm going, but I'm running into the forest.
Okay, so I'm going to say that for me, this movie was like, it's like somebody gives you a chocolate and it's like, it's chocolate, but it's got notes of like, it's got notes of things that are bitter, So I think like, it's like a sophisticated, more acquired taste of like, is this a sweet movie? Can I love this movie? Do I want notes of habanero and
Yes, I would agree with that analogy. Like, you don't look at the little card that came with the chocolates and you're eating them going, ooh, that one's tasty. And like I said, there's some great scenes in this film. I'm like, ooh, that's the walnut one. Ooh, that's the praline.
No, I'm not even trying to say this is like a box of chocolates. I'm trying to say it's one chocolate that has some bitterness, ribbons of bitterness, but I still find myself digging it.
So I'm mixing up your analogy, but to me it's like, it was a box of fun chocolates, and then at the end I got ginger. And I'm like, ginger in this chocolate? No! That's wrong.
Well, yeah. I feel like we've talked about it a lot, and I'm so glad we went to see it, and it was fun to see a matinee. And yeah, don't forget about matinees, you guys. If you have like a day off or something and you can manage a matinee, sometimes it's really fun to see a movie and walk out into the sunshine and get to talk about it.
And this film was well worth going to the cinema for, but knowing that it's coming to Netflix, I would recommend it to check it out on Netflix.
Yeah, and I'm saying go see it in the theater. I think think it's really good. And what did you think? We'd love to know. And we appreciate any comments we get. We really do. And
We
thanks
read
for
'em.
hanging out with us and listening to us chatter away. Happy movie watching. What should we see next? Leave us a comment. Tell us what
you can
we
always
should
suggest
watch.
what should we see next.
Yeah. We'll take a challenge. We might do like a D&D thing at some point too and just list off a bunch of movies and roll the dice. See what we're going to see.
As your drink cool down.
Oh, it's still a little warm.
Oh.